happiness, yeah, wealth, yeah, success, yeah, health, yeah, I get everything that I want, 'cause I deserve it. I do what I ought to do, when I ought to do it, whether I want to or not, 'cause it's a great day for living. Yes, today we're talking about how to define success. Okay, so some of you, hopefully a lot of you are laughing right now because that was funny. However, it's so uplifting for me in the morning because every morning that I've said that, I've had a great day. Now, I'm not saying that that's the reason why I had a great day, but I knew that I had defined success for myself that morning by just saying that little jingle to myself. And I'm in the mirror, I'm bouncing back and forth, and I get pumped up after singing that little jingle. Some people do regular affirmations. I do those also, but that little song right there I created, it speaks to me a little differently because I like music. Music gets into me. So, today, we're going to help you define success. Now, if you been going through that last episode, you have worked with me again. We've gone through prayer. We've gone through the spiritual cleansing. Then we moved into how to get self-confidence. Then we had moved into to get momentum. And the last episode, we said to get focus. Now, today we're going to talk about success, define success, but we're not going to get success. Success is not something that you get. And that's your first lesson there. It's not something that you get. Success is something that is given to you by the things that you do and the person you have become. Hence, the reason why we started off with where we started off with changing ourselves spiritually and then moving into our actions. That's the be, that's the do. You eventually have success. So there's a little plaque I'm going to read off here. See, I've had this little plaque. My mother gave it to me years and years ago, and I actually have put this little plaque here. I put it in front of my TV. Now, I don't really watch TV that often. I download movies and things like that, but I don't really just sit there and watch TV. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll have the football game, maybe it's on or something like that while I'm doing some work or whatever else I'm doing in my life, but I don't really watch TV that much. But this plaque is sitting there in front of the TV. It's like the screen comes down about here and it sits on the bottom of the screen. I can always see it. Every time I look at the TV screen, I see these words, success. Okay, so I'm going to read this definition of success as it goes through here. I'm kind of going to break down some of the things on here because it goes right along with what we're going to put on this whiteboard here about success. Okay, so it says, success. Success does not mean that you are more talented than the next person. It means that you are willing to make more sacrifices, to work harder, and pay the price for success. You may not always reach your goal, and it's okay. Look to the future and do better the next time. Remember, we fail forward to success, and we learn from our failures. Because successful people are not afraid to try. I like that. Obviously, I put it in front of my TV. All right, so let's start this off. We're going to talk about the word success, okay? Success. Success. That's the topic today. We're going to define. Actually, we're going to define success. Okay? So, first off, I'm going to ask you, what does success mean? Okay? What does success actually mean to you? We're going to help you define that because everyone's definition of success is going to be a little bit different. I mean, if you're a mother, Your success to you may be to be the greatest mother in the world. Okay, that'd be successful. You make your life a success. If you are this entrepreneur, you may be to build the best business, most successful business, help the most amount of people through your business in whatever industry or niche that you're building into. Now, if you're an athlete, maybe your success to you is getting some type of average or getting so many types of wins if you're the coach for the athletic team. So success is defined differently for each person. So that would be the first thing. As we start off here, success does not mean. Okay, so you're going to one of the easiest ways to define success. I'm just breaking this down here. One of the easiest ways to define success for you, if you don't already have a definition, is for you to decide what success does not mean to you. So one thing you can very easily do is give yourself two columns. Okay, and there's one column over here. This is doesn't mean. It doesn't mean. Okay, and over there you're just going to list down a bunch of different things that success does not mean to you. Okay, that list will help you to go on the opposite side. You just put on here, it does mean. And on this side, you just put the opposite. You put the opposite for this one, opposite for that, opposite for that one. And whatever it may. Your list may not be that long over here for the mean side, because when it comes down to it, success is only going to mean a certain little couple of few things for yourself. You want to narrow that down. We talked about that yesterday, about focus. So you may define what success does not mean. It does not mean that you're going to go out and get drunk and act silly every night. It doesn't mean that you're going to treat people wrong. It doesn't mean that, boom, 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 when you write down this whole list of things that success does not mean for you. One thing I want you to remember is that when you're defining success, when it comes down to the end, I want you to keep this in mind. Success does not mean, it's not a noun. I want you to think of it as a noun. I want you to think of success to mean as a verb. Success is a verb. It's an action that you must be doing. Okay? Success is something you must be doing continually. Which kind of takes me to this next sort of thing. Let's go into this. Okay. I listened to a training this one time, right? And a funny guy, very, very successful. There goes that word. But he's successful in his business life and in his personal life. Great relationships, interpersonal relationships, and is a great communicator because of this. You know, he's developed his communication skills and it's grew out all the way throughout his life. So one thing he was talking about relationships, and he talks about like this. Says men and women have different ways of thinking about things. Okay, men kind of departmentalize things, and women kind of everything mixed all together. And here's the example he gave. He said men have the mindset of like a waffle. Okay, so when we're doing a certain things, it fits into this side. So if we're in work mode, here's work mode. Okay, if we're in play mode, here's play mode. If we're in if we're in sleep mode, here's sleep mode. If we're in drive mode, we're in drive mode. If we're in, fun mode, it's up here. Whatever it may be, these different areas that we're going to go into. If we're in money-making mode, we're down here. If we're in learn mode, we're over here. It's in these different categories, and that's it. That's where we're in. When we're in one of those areas, that's where we are. There's no intermingling. Okay? Now, even with the ADD, but ADD just means we got too many things going on at the same time. Kind of like my brain goes right now. Yeah. But we're going to get this all together because right now I'm in work mode. So, but work is fun for me. Ooh, they're kind of weird. But here's the next part. He said women, their brains are like noodles. Okay, so here's the thing. He says, so when the man comes home at night and his wife had already asked him to take out the garbage. He forgot to take out the garbage. So later on that evening, and he's trying to get him some that night from his wife. His wife was like, no. And he's like, well, why not? What's wrong? What's going on? Why can't I get none? The wife says, remember I told you to take out the garbage this morning? Now, here's the thing. The man is sitting here with his compartmentalizing, his putting everything in their separate areas. He's thinking to himself, what does taking out the garbage, which is up here, have to do with getting some loving, which is over here? There's two different areas, up here and up here. It's two different areas. They're not in the same area. It doesn't make sense. But see, now the woman, it got that noodle, so it's all connected, right? So I want you to think about, what does this all mean? I want you to think about success as like that woman's brain. It's like that noodle. People want to try to say, and we're going to go even further with that example. People are going to start saying, well, I've had success over here in business, but they're not successful, but they haven't had very much success in their family life, okay? So you got business, you got family, you got your social life, right? So if you have, maybe I have success in business, but I don't really have the family life. I'm not successful. I don't really have the social life, okay? But I do have a very big successful in my business, okay? And I'm very intelligent because I've been doing a lot of reading and studying, okay? And then my spiritual section down here, well, of course, my spiritual section, I'm working on it, but I don't really have all the success I have in there. So this one's kind of open there. It's just an open area, okay? Now, do you want to define your success in your life as only having success in business and being in the mental section? No. Successful person needs to be able to check off, boom, boom, boom. Needs to be checking off all those things. And that's what success is. It's like that noodle that connects all these things. You can't compartmentalize your success. So when you define your success for yourself, make sure the success you want hits on all these areas. I'm telling you now, if you just focus on just getting business success, you will find that you're lacking in these other areas. You will find it. And you will have this void in your life, and you're going to be going looking out for that. You're going to stop doing your business, or you're going to have to restructure your business so that you can include your family, your social, mental, and spiritual life into that. Now, if you say, at the end of this, I'll talk to you about something that I found that helps me to get in all of these areas. When you stay to the end of this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll love this. You'll love that. Okay, so we got the business, and so I want you to define this success, and it's an action. You have to take action to hit all those things. It's a verb. Okay, so then he says that you're more talented than the next person. So this part of this, think about this. If I'm always comparing myself to the next person, am I truly being my success? My own success. I haven't defined my success for myself, because that next person, their definition of success is probably going to be much different from mine, because they're a completely different person. So if I'm trying to define my success by measuring up to the next person, what really am I end up getting out for myself? Nothing. Maybe a little bit. But there's going to be something missing. So you have to define success for yourself. And maybe success may not be all the way narrowed down for you. That's all right. Just get your definition as you work through it, and continue to go on watching these lessons and so forth, and reading and studying and journaling. You'll start defining success for yourself even more and even more and even more, and you'll start building more success in your life. And here's one other thing I want you to add on to that. Take this note down too. As you start getting more success in your life, it behooves you. How do you like that for a word? That's a real studious word. People want to say the word behooves. It's real studious, behooves. But everybody knows what it means. Anyway, it behooves you to turn around and help someone else get their success. And there's a bonus behind doing that. By giving away your experience, you're able to help someone else gain a success, but in return, you get more success back to you. That's just the way the world works. Trust me on that. Don't test it. Trust it. Okay? Don't test that. Trust it. So here's the next thing. It means that you're willing to make more sacrifices to work harder and pay the price for success. So what is the price of success? See, one very successful person, I'm going to keep saying the word successful in there. I want you to get into your mind. We're talking about success. How to be success. We're defining success. One successful person said this, that if you want to be successful, the easiest way to do is decide what you want and decide what you must be willing to sacrifice in order to get that you want. Okay? Kind of, again, we go back to where we start off here. These are the things that don't mean success for us. Okay? Next to me, I got another little tip here to move on to your training. From here, move on to the next area over here. And what you're going to do is define, once we define what our goals are already. We've already done that. Just some of the goals. So we're going to decide after we have what our goals are, we're going to decide, well, what do I need to get rid from my life so that I can fashion myself a new lifestyle. So what do I have to get rid of in order to make room for the new things the goals into my life? Okay? See, the world works, there can be no voids in this universe. Something's always going to come in to fill it up. They ask the question, and I'm going to throw this out. This is my own personal philosophy. You can take with it whatever you will. People ask this question. Okay, you got this cup of water, right? Got the cup of water. Okay, this is liquid down here. People ask the question whether the cup is half full or half empty. Okay? Here's the thing. Because of my understanding of the world and the world of abundance in life, I'm telling you right now, my own personal definition, this glass is always full. It's always full. By definition, it has to be full. Okay? Now, if you define the question now as the glass half full of water or if it's half full of air, that's a different question. But see, the glass itself is always going to be full of something. You have to decide what you're going to put into it. You define what you'll put into it. Now, what does that mean for you? We're talking about, there's got to be a metaphor going on here, or analogies, excuse me. The analogy here is, this is your mind. Because as we've already decided, our mind is what decides what goals we want, and our mind, the creation of ideas, is what's going to help us be successful. Our mind is what's going to help us attract our goals, so it's all about the mind. Coming back to it. Okay, we go back to success. But going through this process helps you define your success, right? If my mind is either going to be half full with what I want, the ideas that I want, right? It's going to be half full of the things I don't want. Or air. Right? But it's going to be full. Half plus a half equals something. Half plus a half equals 1. Your mind's always going to be full with something. You have to make the determination whether you're going to sit on the couch and do nothing and let it just be filled up with air, and eventually those negative thoughts are going to fill up the rest of their mind. It's going to happen. It's going to be filled up with something. Or if you're going to keep putting philosophies, you're going to keep putting in disciplines, you're going to keep putting in new skills, you're going to keep putting in more joyous experiences, you're going to keep putting in more associations from different people and different life experiences from them, you're going to be bringing in positive testimonials. All these things to help fill up your cup. Okay? So, what we need to do first is figure out what we need to get rid of. What do we need to get rid of out of our cup? Because your mind, like I said, is already full of something. It's full of things you don't want and you do want. So we got to figure out what are those things we don't want, and we got to start removing them. Boom. We got to start removing those things. Okay? And as we start removing those things and keep coming to trainings like this, keep watching videos like this, keep reading books and getting mentors and start listening to successful people and the people who have the things that we want. As we do that, we start filling this glass back up with things that we decided that we want. They relate back to our definition of success. And as we do that, we start filling this cup back up with things that we want. Eventually, we'll only have the things that we want. That's what's going into there. Okay? So we got to rid from our life the things we don't want so we can attain our goals. So now, we'll move on to the next section here. It says that you may not always reach your goal, and it's okay. Look to the future and do better the next time. Man, that's just... I'm not going to go into different, examples from sports or whatever, analogies, things like that of, baseball players, as a baseball, or the averages of things that happen. We just know this. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to win every time. But by doing things like this and defining what your success is, you're going to be more likely to, as time progresses and you become better, that you will be able to hit your mark more often. You see, people may think of being a successful person means that you don't ever fail. That is farthest from the truth. And we're going to the next part of this, so we're going further into that portion, but I'm going to touch on it now. Your success is part of what defines you, okay? One of the smartest men in the world, wisest man in the world, of course, was Solomon, okay? And Solomon and King David, Solomon and King David were kind of young men, okay? Think about the fact of this. I think it may have been King David. I can't remember if it's King David or Solomon. One of the two was very, very, very young, okay? But the point is this. For you to think of someone, I like myself, people often come to me or say to me on Facebook or that I meet in public, they say to me often that I'm very wise for my age. And to me, that doesn't really make sense. I mean, in reality, it's like saying I'm not smart. I shouldn't I shouldn't know what I know. Why? Why is that even possible that thought should come through you? It's because for the most part, most people don't want to do the thoughts, go through the process, go through the training, go through the learning, go through the studying to become something more than that they are. Now, I was lucky enough to learn from my parents to start that at a very, 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 very young age. So that whenever I failed, I was also pushed. There was something in the back of my mind telling me that there is no failures in my life. I must learn from each and every experience because I'm just doomed to repeat those same things. And believe you me, I've tested that numerous times in my life. I've tested that theory. And I always came back around. I lost. Anytime I thought that I didn't need to learn from experience, I've lost. And I ended up being taught that lesson again and again and again. And that's something we'll talk about in a different training. I call it FALL. It's an acronym. I like acronyms. I'm a wordsmith. That FALL stands for Freedom Assigned Life Lessons. Okay, so it's a double entendre within an acronym. Freedom Assigned Life Lessons. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. Okay, but just know this. Your wisdom, which will help you get to the success that you want, because it'll help you go on. I define it like this. If you were to ask King David or Solomon and so forth this question, this is what I believe they would say. How are you so wise at such a young age? Now, in contemplation, the person, one King David or Solomon would turn around and say to the person that my wisdom is not defined by years, but by experience. And here it is. Experience can be borrowed. If you get what I'm just saying, you rewind that back and you understand what I'm saying there. Basically, you're borrowing my experience now because I'm giving you my experience. When you start reading these books and start talking to your mentors, talking to whomever, and going to listen to audios, watching these videos, you start borrowing someone else's experience so that you are less likely to, if you follow their lessons and their trainings, that you're less likely to fall into the same pitfalls as they have experienced in life, because I'm borrowing their experience. However, again, this goes back to my last point, was that as you become successful, the part of success is failing and then moving forward from those success, because I've learned a little more through my failures. Then I turn around and help somebody else. I've just instilled that into me even more. Being able to teach something is one of the greatest ways for you to learn something. Hence the reason why I do a lot of these videos. Now, moving on from there, we have the last section. Well, second last section is remember we fail forward to success, as we've just been discussing, and we learn from our failures, because successful people are not afraid to try. Boom, comes right back around to what we said in the beginning, is that it is a verb. Think of this as a verb. Now, what we're talking about again is we want to be successful. Okay? We want to be successful. So we're going to do the things that need to get done to be successful. We're going to become the person that does successful things, and we're going to end up having success. It's going to be given to us. Okay? It's not our job. It's not our job to get success. It's not our job. Our job is to define our success, do the things that needs to be done to get it, to get momentum, to get self-confidence, and to get to get self-confidence, to get momentum, and to get into a position that success will come to us. Okay? Eventually, if you continue to work this out through all your failures, success will be given to you. That's the job of the universe. That's the job of God, to bring success to you. But it's only going to happen if you define it for yourself. Okay? It only happens if you define it for yourself. Now, can you actually, question is, can you be successful? Yes. Can you be successful? Yes. Can you be successful? Yes, you can be successful. To be successful, by definition, you break it down, the word at the end says full success. So if we break it down, successful means a person that's full of success. Can I be successful? Can I be full of success? Can I have success in everything that I do? Yes, I've defined what it is I want. I define what success means in the areas of my life. I'm taking the actions to become that. I'm moving through my failures. That's a life of success. I can wrap this all up with this point. Success, after doing all these hows, the whats, the wheres, the whens, in the end it comes down to the last two things. Who and why. Who and why. You see, why you're doing this is what's going to help you in those times when you're very sad, when other people are talking about you or just not having a good day. You must have a purpose. And that purpose is going to help you in all the other areas. After all this stuff, you want a purpose. Your purpose is why you're doing everything you do. And I'm not trying to go through the whole philosophical, what's the meaning of life and all that, or what is my purpose in life. That will come as long as you go doing the things that you're supposed to do, becoming the person that you're supposed to become. How do I know that is going to happen to you? Because you're doing things that make you happy. The things that make you happy, as long as they're not hurting or helping anybody else, and as long as you're improving every day, becoming a better person, more and more things are going to happen to you. Moving in a life of purpose, with a life of purpose, will bring more purpose to your life. That sounds like double talk. Oh well, it is what it is. It's the truth also. By moving in a life of purpose, because you've defined your success, more purpose will be given to your life. This is your why. You have to decide your why. The who, there's two things that goes along with the who. The who is because the person you want to become, and the who is also God. God's the one who's giving you all the things that you want here. Because you're doing all these things to prosper this world, all the things will come back to you so you'll be more prosperous. And who does that for you? It's going to be God. From your universe, the whatever, the whatever you want to call it, your higher, the God of your understanding, the higher purpose, whatever it is, the ether, whatever you want to define it as. You're doing this, and they're going to do that back for you. So, It's the end of today's training. I know it went a little bit long, but I feel like I got into the moment. I need you to hear the whiteboard and got started off with my song. I told you that song gets me all pumped up. So that's the end of today's training. We talked about how to define success. And as we move forward from today, we're going to do some more fun things and do a little fun things here coming up. But we're going to file this under storytellingoverselling.com/define success. storytellingoverselling.com/define success. Now, if you found value in this training here, please pass this information on to whoever it is. That's what I want you to do. Pass this video on to someone else who needs to hear this. And whether they don't need to hear this, everybody needs to hear what I just talked about. Not necessarily because I'm the best, but because they're going to find some value in this. Just because you found some value in it. So pass on the message. And understand more of how we got to this point. Go back to my other videos on the Get Momentum and the Get Self-Confidence and other videos previous to this, leading up to this on the inspirational talks. You'll get a better understanding of how we got to the point where we're defining success. Other thing I want you to do, since you're on there looking at those other videos, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. That way, every time I come out with some more inspirational talks, you'll be right there, one of the first in lines to get it. All right, this is Dear Arlando Fortune. I love you. I'll talk to you later.